It seems like everyone has a theory about what will happen in the highly anticipated Avengers Infinity War follow-up, and there are all varying degrees of plausibly implausible. But no matter how possible or impossible these theories seem to be when held up to the light of scrutiny, that doesn't stop us from checking to see if each one is fresh or a real stinker. As such, the latest Avengers 4 theory to gain traction on Reddit, where else, has us checking our back issues to see what's what. User for Better Worse posted a theory that claims that characters like the Fantastic Four and mutants like the characters from the XMen franchise have always existed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that they'll be introduced into Avengers 4 following a reversal of Thanos' snap that killed half of all living beings. The details of the theory are very, very complicated. In order to work, it relies on a few different ideas. For the Fantastic Four's introduction, the theory relies on super genius Reed Richards and the rest of the FF having been off exploring the negative zone, unbeknownst to the rest of the world. When the snap is undone, they'll be ripped back into our Earth, at which point an already established Fantastic Four can rejoin the MCU that they've secretly always been a part of. The mutants of the MCU, meanwhile, have an even more complicated setup. In the theory's telling of the MCU's hidden history, S.H.I.E.L.D. of the 1950s and 60s created some kind of bomb to give people superpowers, but it didn't seem to work. Then, as the people hit with the bomb's energy pass their slightly altered genes to their kids, the wave of energy released by the reversed snap makes the MCU's mutants.
No! I'm a mutant!
Or at least that's what it all seems to suggest. The ins and outs of Reddit theories can be tough to decipher, and we won't pretend to know if we're getting the thing exactly right.
What? Huh?
But there's at least a few kernels of possibility here. For starters, as For Better Worse points out, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has hinted that future Avenger films will be more space-centric. If the Avengers survive, that is. That gives us a clear path for the Fantastic Four's arrival from some kind of extraterrestrial setting. Then again, this theory is just that, a theory. Introducing characters like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four would definitely change the MCU in a major way, and fans are driving themselves crazy trying to figure out how Marvel Studios will work them in, now that Marvel's parent company, Walt Disney Studios, is finally closing in on acquiring Fox and all the movie rights to Marvel characters that it owns. It's really only a matter of time until the X-Men and the Fantastic Four enter the MCU, and fans definitely expect them to make an appearance. After all, Feige once discussed the importance of featuring new and different characters in Marvel movies in the future. Evolving Marvel movies is the most important thing, and that's what you've seen happen over the past 20 films. Different genres, different heroes maybe you've heard of if you'd read comics, heroes you might not ever have heard of even if you did read comics. But considering Avengers 4 wrapped principal photography ages ago, since directors Joe and Anthony Russo shot Infinity War and Avengers 4 back-to-back, fans probably won't see hide nor hair of the X-Men or the Fantastic Four when the film drops in May 2019. Even still, there stands a chance that the Avengers 4 story could set up the possibility of that happening somewhere down the line. And it has happened before. Don't forget, the aftermath of the first Avengers film, with all the dead aliens and leftover tech, led to the events that created Vulture and his crew in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Despite writer-director Joss Whedon having no idea that Sony and Marvel would ever work out their differences to bring Spidey into the MCU. It worked then, so it can probably work now. So how will the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the rest of Marvel's mutants make their way to the MCU? Well, we've got a big purple dude who can snap his hot dog fingers and change the very fabric of reality in an instant. So it really doesn't need to be any more complicated than that, if you think about it with your brain, that is.
The brain is a muscle, and that's a muscle, and that's a muscle, and they are all muscles, this is all muscle, so I am covered in brains, and I have more brains than you.